Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 2022 Yushan Forum. Now we will move on to session 2, Reconnecting Asia with the new ecosystem of partnership through societal actions. In this session, we will talk about how like-minded democracies work together to forge alliance through people-to-people exchanges. The theme of the session is Taiwan and Australia, advancing the partnership of 4 decades. The session will be moderated by Dr. Ellen Yang, Executive Director of Taiwan Asia Exchange Foundation. Please welcome Dr. Yang, and please give him a round of applause.
Distinguished guests, His Excellency, Her Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, and Deputy Representative of the Australia Office in Taipei, Mr. Michael Gorgon, and friends online and outside, good afternoon. Welcome back to Yushan Forum. I think the discussion in the morning was quite exciting and fruitful, and also with the former Deputy Minister of New Zealand's powerful speech of "So do we." We believe that everyone will also enjoy the wonderful intellectual discussion, and as well as the lunch, along with the intellectual feast at noon. In addition to the good food, there is also a need for good speaker. The Honorable Julie Bishop's luncheon speech is also enlightening and also stimulating. On behalf of the organizer of the Yushan Forum, we hope to make the annual Yushan Forum enriched and impressive. And next, the afternoon session will address the ecosystems based on the new southbound policy partnership that drives post-pandemic revitalization and facilitate a more resilient future together. By revitalizing, I would like to emphasize the advanced partnership between Taiwan and the new southbound policy partner country. And with such partnership, the regional recovery will be better re-enhanced. And by reorienting with the inclusion of Taiwan and the blueprints deliberated in the Yushan Forum of this year, can enable the new economic frameworks in Asia more resilient. By reconnecting, we do hope to highlight the new ecosystem fostered by the social networks and multifaceted partnerships of the new southbound policy and its profound implication to the shaping of the post-pandemic resilience. Just as the remark made by Her Excellency President Tsai in this morning, new southbound policy is at the core of Taiwan's Indo-Pacific strategy. So with the revitalizing, reorienting, and also reconnecting, we would like to foster the partnership based upon the new southbound policy between Taiwan and the region. And this session will be divided into 2 parts. I took the pleasure and honor to serve as the moderator. My name is Ellen Yang. I'm affiliated with the Taiwan Asia Exchange Foundation. The first part is to launch the policy report on Taiwan-Australia relations, while the second part is to examine the social energy and network of the new southbound policy collaboration through the highlights of the ecosystem. And for this first part, we have 2 speakers. One is me, and the other speaker is Director Taylor. Since last year, Director Taylor, okay. I will introduce Director Taylor later. Since this is the launch event of the policy report on Taiwan-Australia relations, since last year in 2021, we have organized a study group on Taiwan-Australia relations at Taiwan Asia Exchange Foundation to examine the achievement of the partnership and collaboration between Taiwan and Australia over the past 40 years. And TAEF is pleased to co-organize a few workshop and also discussion brainstorming session with leading scholar, practitioner, and also the business leader in Australia and in Taiwan, and is now pleased to publish this report on Taiwan and Australia, titled Taiwan and Australia Advancing the Partnership for 4 Decades. And this report is enclosed in your bag. The report is based on the finding of a study group of Taiwan-Australia relations organized by the Taiwan Asia Exchange Foundation under our core program on think tank collaboration. Over the past 1 year and also, the study group has conducted a comprehensive review of the relationships between the two countries and the achievements of past comprehensive exchange through several discussion and working meetings, and put forward the policy recommendations for both governments and the policy community of two countries. And here, I would like to express my sincere thanks to the contributors for their leading efforts and the assistance of my TAEF colleagues, as well as the endorsement and support of the Australia office in Taipei. So the Deputy Representative Michael, thank you very much for your kind help. Without a concert effort, this report will not have been completed. We are very grateful to the Australia office in Taipei for its support and assistance, making this report even more meaningful on the occasion of the 40th anniversary of the Australia representative establishment in Taiwan for 4 decades. So you can imagine how rich the bilateral partnership has been progressing. And this report is very unique. In addition to being the first policy report in Taiwan to examine Taiwan-Australia relations, it also invited the participation of the academics, policy and think tankers, private sector leaders, and business tycoon from Taiwan and Australia to share their respective observations and insights. There are 12 chapters in this book focusing on political and informal diplomatic interaction, international environment, and major factors such as bilateral interest and common challenges, regional stability and security cooperation such as Quad, bilateral economic and trade relations. And those variable advices gathered and presented in this policy report showing that Australia is an important partner country of Taiwan's new southbound policy. And it is also a country with like-minded value of democracy, freedom, and human rights. And Taiwan and Australia have too much complementarity and mutual support. Today, the many important consultation and cooperation channels platform that both countries have accumulated over the past 4 decades can bring greater strength and promote more pragmatic and comprehensive partnership between two sides. We hope that this report can have greater circulation, not only as a reference for reviewing the achievements of both countries in the past 40 years, but also to outline an important strategic blueprint for the next 40 years. Thank you. So without further ado, I would like to invite Director Taylor to share her remark with us.
Thank you very much, Alan. I am from Australia, and so straight off to our translators, I apologise. I hope my accent grows on you over the course of the discussions. As is customary in Australia, I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we're meeting today and pay my respects to Taiwan's Indigenous peoples. From my side, it's a great honour to be asked to speak today. And as Chairman Chou mentioned this morning, one of the last Australians who was given this honour was former Prime Minister Tony Abbott. So I thought to myself, what do Tony Abbott and I have in common? I struggled. Okay, but one thing I know we have in common is that we are friends of Taiwan, and we would consider ourselves that. So that got me thinking about what it means to be a friend to Taiwan. So in my remarks, I'm not going to focus just on Australia or just focus on think tanks, which is where I spent most of my career. I want to talk about what it means for anyone to be a friend for Taiwan, which I think is relevant to our friends who have come from all around the world. So I've been lucky enough to visit Taiwan many times now. Some of my early visits were on think tank study tours. And so I discovered that, this is the place on earth. If you want to find the best China watches and the best US watches, you come here and you talk. Then I came and brought my children for a Mandarin summer camp. And I discovered the lifestyle, the food, travelled around the country on a fast train and saw the science and the innovation in Kaohsiung. And then last year, I was here as a visiting fellow for INDSR, and I focused a lot on how Taiwan was responding to the new Biden administration, so how were US-Taiwan relations going, and more on defence issues. I was here 4 months, which sounds great, except all but a week of that, I was locked down with the level 3 restrictions. But from my side, if there's anywhere on the planet I would like to be locked down, it would be here. I had the best vegetarian food in the world. I could do yoga on the rooftop, looking at Taipei 101. I had the friendliest doorman in the world, thank God, and I had colleagues at INDSR who went out of their way every day to help me do my research online. So in my mind, I see it like a journey, where each contact I've had with Taiwan has deepened my understanding. So on the first visits, coming from a new country, Australia, with a very Western approach, the things that struck me were all about the long civilization, visiting the National Palace Museum, learning about folk customs. But then I started to learn more about, the diversity of Taiwan's people and traditions. I learnt more about Indigenous peoples, who are the progenitors of the Austronesian peoples. And I think I've also watched Taiwan change over the times I've been visiting. When I first arrived, the polling still had a certain number of Taiwanese who would say, I identified as Chinese or identify as Chinese and Taiwanese. That has definitely changed. And I've watched things like the environmental consciousness grow. For me, a symbol of that would be something like Datin Park, when I first saw it, versus the, ecological miracle that it is now. And each contact I've had has helped deepen and, give more complexity to how I see Taiwan. So I would definitely describe myself as a friend. Back in Australia, I see it as part of my job to talk to the media, to write, to educate people on Taiwan, which I think in your terminology would be around connecting through societal actions, yes? At the moment, there's a real appetite in Australia to hear more and learn more about Taiwan, and I take very seriously trying to do that. So, what can friends like me try and do to help Taiwan? I'm going to suggest 4 things. The first is, I think we need to counter the narratives that are out there that Taiwan is just a Chinese province, just a part of Taiwan. When I talk to Australians about it, I try to get them to think in terms of decolonisation. This is not Catalonia. This is more like the Philippines. This is something that has been passed around empires. It has a distinct identity as the result of, myriad heritages, and nowhere on earth is like Taiwan, to get that across. I think the second thing that Friends should be doing is countering narratives around inevitability. And I think there's a danger when you're focusing constantly on contingency. What would happen in a contingency? What are the military options? It can actually have that effect. I think you need to widen the discussion, not be talking about what are the end games for Taiwan, but what we can do here and now, that Taiwan is not just defined by its strategic circumstances. Third, I think being a friend means talking frankly with Taiwanese contacts about risk. I think there's a real danger after 80 years that Taiwanese start to see China as all bluster and bombast, paper tiger. And I think it's so important that we don't underestimate how rock solid the mainland's resolve is. So I think, in understanding and explaining Taiwan's strategy, I think it has to be the same. Preserve the status quo, maintain maximum space, see what happens and hope that we get better choices on the table later down the track. I know it is unpopular because it's uncomfortable, but I think the idea that Taiwan's future can be decided with no reference to the mainland is fanciful. I would say it's not being a friend, however, if outsiders encourage confrontation, which could be catastrophic for Taiwan and its people and for the wider region. And I worry that some of the people who talk about being pro-Taiwan, they're really just raring for a fight and they don't care about the consequences. Fourthly, I think the most important thing that we can do, that Friends of Taiwan can do at a practical level right now, is supporting Taiwan to maintain its international space, whatever that is. So visiting Taiwan, inviting people from Taiwan to visit you, trade, links, whatever they are. To me, I look, for example, at the work of the Australian office and the work it does with something like the Global Cooperation and Training Framework, sharing Taiwanese expertise with the world. I think the book that we're launching here today, and I will just show, you've all got it in your bags, so open your bags, look at it, do actually read it, it's fantastic. What I think it does is it gives actually a bit of an agenda. What does it look like to be a friend in different areas, whether that's education, think tanks, energy, climate, technology cooperation, finding space for Taiwan in the Quad, working together on maritime governance. There's a whole range of areas. And I would say that there's just so much that Friends of Taiwan can and should do. So whatever space you work in, find space for Taiwan. And as President Tsai opened today saying, there's just so much potential in working together for peace and security in the region. And that's what Taiwan needs friends and partners for. So in line with the theme of our conference, revitalising, reorienting and reconnecting, with borders reopening, and I have to say I am amused, I will be one of the very last people to do hotel quarantine in Taiwan. I think that gives that opportunity. How can we continuously revitalise our relationship? So I would like to say a big thank you to Taiwan Asia Exchange Foundation at a personal level for the chance to be back here, to reconnect and to revitalise my friendship with Taiwan. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Melissa, for your very kind words and also for your endorsement in realizing this project together. I do strongly encourage all of our distinguished guests and participants to read this report, since this is the first report of this kind to address the partnership and existing channel of both countries. And moreover, it covered the author and contributor from different sectors that exactly demonstrate the public-private people partnership practice of Taiwan's new southbound policy and also our regional outreach. So if you have time, please read this specific report, and you will find very interesting findings and also the achievement of the partnership of those countries. Once again, I thank you, Melissa, for your kind support in this report.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Please put your hands together for Ms. Tyler. Thank you so much for your insights. Thank you. Please return to your seat. Thank you very much. As mentioned by Dr. Yang, if you're interested in the articles or the books published by Ms. Tyler, feel free to find out more information. So once again, a big thank you to our distinguished speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, and now we will move on to the panel discussion, and we would like to welcome to the stage our panelists. Please welcome Dr. Professor Norbert Lammert, Chair of Konrad-Adenauer-Stiftung, Mr. Michael J. Abramowitz, President of Freedom House, Ms. Maureen Siao, Tsai Foundation, Dr. Futuru C.L. Tsai, Director of the Center of Austronesian Culture at National Taitung University, Mr. Ajit Manocha, President and CEO of SEMI, Datin Yoko Chou, CEO of Enjoy TV and Film Broadcasting Corporation, Malaysia, also a Taiwan Gold Card holder. Please give them a warm round of applause. And now I would like to give the floor to our moderator, Dr. Yang.
Distinguished guest, it's me again. So let's move to our second part of this afternoon session. And this session will also address how we reconnect Asia with a new ecosystem of partnership through the societal action. And this panel will cover a wide range of the collaboration and also the practice using Taiwan Asia Exchange Foundation's practice as the reference to demonstrate how the partnership with the partners and also the institution can demonstrate the achievement as well as the new southbound policy. And we have 6 panelists gathering in this session. However, there are two of our panelists who has the other public obligation and cannot make it to attend in person. They conducted the pre-recorded video to share their insight with us. So first of all, I would like to introduce the Honorable Norbert Lammert, the chairman of the Konrad-Adenauer-Stiftung, the CAS, the Adenauer Foundation from Germany. And Adenauer Foundation is our partnership with Taiwan Asia Exchange Foundation. During the past 2 years, we launched a very meaningful program to pay attention to the future of work among the young Asian youth. We know that when the pandemic broke out and the middle class suffered a lot. However, there is a new normal called work from home, but that's for the white collar community. But how about the blue collar community? They cannot work from home, and with that, I think there are increasing international concern on how the pandemic will change the future of the Asian youth. So we are very delighted to partner with the CAS from Germany to discuss how the think tank or the policy community can work together to brainstorm and to provide a policy recommendation to the enterprise, to the government, to facilitate a better and friendly environment for our Asian young people. So that's the reason why we decide to accept the partnership with the CAS. And we are happy to, also delighted to invite the chairman of CAS, the Honorable Norbert Lammert, to take part in this year's Yushan Forum. And due to the public duty and also the obligation, the Honorable Lammert cannot make it this time. And he prepared a pre-recorded video to engage with all of our discussion here today. So may I invite all of you to view the pre-recorded insight shared by the Honorable Lammert.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to deliver my personal greetings and best wishes to the Yushan Forum on behalf of the Konrad-Adenauer-Stiftung as well. Unfortunately, I couldn't arrange to participate in person, but I appreciate very much the partnership between the Adenauer Foundation and the Taiwan Asia Exchange Foundation, which already exists. And I'm aware that already since 5 years now, this Taiwan Asia Exchange Foundation has continued to organize the Yushan Forum to serve as a paramount platform for Asian regional dialogue. And this conference once again seeks to deepen Taiwan's partnerships with Asian nations and hopefully, if not necessarily beyond Asia, because not only Taiwan and not only Germany, but nearly most of the countries in this on this globe are confronted with a series of more or less simultaneous events which give us the opportunity and at the same time the necessity to seriously think on framework conditions for our future work. As far as the pandemic is concerned, we are entering the third year, and not everybody is concerned that we are at the beginning of light at the end of a tunnel. Obviously, we observe not identical situations in different countries, and definitely we observe different strategies in meeting these challenges, not only the medical challenges, but the implications in terms of economic growth perspectives, of labor market conditions, and other aspects. And unfortunately, beyond these major challenges, we are confronted with new uncertainties and offensive challenges of security. This is particularly true for Europe, of course, since the Russian aggression against Ukraine. And these adds to all the other problems we are facing already. And under any circumstance, there is a need to not only exchange experiences and perceptions of these different and simultaneous developments and challenges, and certainly for Germany, and probably not only for Germany, it is definitely necessary to question and adapt entrenched patterns of thoughts and actions. And one major point is that we have to examine relations, political, economic, trade relations with other countries, and directly addressing the region we are talking about. Everybody knows that Germany has very strong trade relations with China, and at the same time very, very low political relations in terms of our understanding what a political system is all about. And in the case of Taiwan, we have remarkable trade relations, but even more remarkable similarities in our understanding of political systems. And this is perhaps the message which is needed not only for this conference. In the new realities everybody is talking about since a couple of months, in the new realities of a global world, we have to cooperate much more intensively as in the past between like-minded countries. And Germany and Taiwan belong to like-minded Western democracies. And so once again, I appreciate very much the partnership between the Adenauer Foundation and the Taiwan Asia Exchange Foundation. I send my best wishes for this Yushan Forum, and I very much hope that it is another step in a long and intensive cooperation in the future.
Thank you, Chairman Lammert. And another vivid example of the partnership with between Taiwan's NGO with the international NGO based upon the shared value and like-minded partnership is our working relationship with the Freedom House. So this year we also feel delighted and honored to invite the participation of Freedom House in the Yushan Forum. And the President Michael Abramowitz committed to attend the Yushan Forum. However, it encountered against the board meeting, so he cannot make it this time. But he also provided a pre-recorded video to show his strongly endorsement to Taiwan as a like-minded partner with the shared interest and value on human rights, freedom, and democracy. And we are also grateful that there are more and more international renowned foundation and think tank decide to set up a branch chapter or the office in Taiwan, including the Freedom House office in Taiwan as well. So without further ado, please welcome President Michael Abramowitz of the Freedom House's remark.
Good day. I'm Michael Abramowitz, the president of Freedom House. Thank you to the Taiwan Asia Education Foundation for inviting me to participate in this year's Yushan Forum. I'm honored to be included on this panel, and I'm very sorry that I'm not with you in person. For more than 80 years, Freedom House has been working with civil society organizations, journalists, and human rights activists around the world, pushing governments to enact pro-democracy policies and protect human rights, and raising the alarm about emerging threats to freedom. We are thrilled to have recently established the Freedom House Asia Regional Office in Taipei, which will enable us to expand our work and deepen our partnership with human rights and democracy supporters across Asia. The Yushan Forum is exactly the kind of forum where we should be discussing these issues. Asia is home to some of the world's most vibrant democracies, as well as the site of worrisome democratic decline in recent years. I'd like to start by setting the scene for democracy on a global scale. The world has experienced 16 consecutive years of democratic decline and rising authoritarianism. Encouraged by the complacency and failures of even the strongest democracies, dictators around the world have been progressively chipping away at democratic institutions and working to undermine people's fundamental freedoms. Freedom House found that in 2021, only 25 countries experienced improvements in civil liberties and political rights. More than twice that number, 60, suffered declines, including democratic countries, including my own country, the United States. Today, less than 20% of the world's population live in what we consider a free country. In recent years, several Asian democracies have seen their institutions undermined by populism and authoritarian politics. Illiberal leaders have used the national security pretext to crack down on journalists, criminalize free speech, target NGOs, and suppress political opposition. In many countries, authorities have scapegoated ethnic, religious, and social minorities as part of these campaigns. Freedom House has identified these patterns as playing out in Cambodia, the Philippines, Malaysia, India, Singapore, and Indonesia. While the regional authoritarian trend is driven by political elites in several countries, I'd be remiss not to acknowledge the major challenge that Beijing poses to democracy in the region. The Chinese Communist Party compounds anti-democratic trends by exporting its surveillance technologies, training autocratic officials in other countries, working to influence media narratives, running a sophisticated campaign to pressure and control Chinese people living overseas, and generally providing a model for repression. These practices are intertwined with China's Belt and Road Initiative, a multifaceted foreign policy initiative that has enlarged CCP influence in the Indo-Pacific and beyond. In the face of these challenges, Taiwan stands out as an example of a strong democracy, transitioning from a repressive single-party state to a robust multi-party democracy over the course of 4 decades. I applaud the Taiwanese people for building such a vibrant and competitive democratic system, one that has established 3 peaceful transfers of power since the year 2000. As the American people were unfortunately reminded on January 6th, the peaceful transfer of power between political competitors is a non-negotiable pillar of democracy. Taiwan is also a leader in combating digital authoritarianism and disinformation campaigns online, and hosts one of the freest online settings in all of Asia. Free expression thrives in Taiwan, protected by an independent judiciary, and the country has done a truly remarkable job countering the impact of Chinese disinformation campaigns. Of course, Taiwan is not alone. We also salute countries like South Korea and Japan as democratic success stories for the Indo-Pacific region. This year's Yushan Forum is taking place at a historic moment for democracy, not just in Asia, but around the world. The Kremlin's war of conquest in Ukraine has been a wake-up call to all of us who live in democracies about the fragility of our international order and the vital need for partnership in defending our rights and freedoms from authoritarian aggression. All Asian countries have a crucial role to play in pushing back against authoritarianism. We are currently in the year of action following President Biden's first Summit for Democracy, and Taiwan has made notable contributions with regard to open government partnership, hosting an East Asia Democracy Forum, and the Assembly of the World Movement of Democracy here in Taiwan, Taipei, combating corruption and supporting regional civil society. There is no silver bullet for securing democracy, but I'd like to leave you with some of the approaches that I think can have the most impact. First, we must strengthen democracy in each of our respective countries. This means bolstering our own democratic institutions, especially free and fair elections, ensuring the freedom of the press, and protecting the human and civil rights of the entire populations. We cannot possibly protect democracy globally if we cannot maintain it at home. Second, we must make our societies more resilient. Solidarity among regional democracies can help sustain the civic spaces that activists need to operate and elevate the voices of the oppressed. The Yushan Forum plays an important role in this regard by strengthening links between civil society actors in the region and providing a space for free and candid exchange. Finally, I think that one of the most important things that democratic governments and civil society organizations can do is to provide more material and diplomatic support to pro-democracy activists and human rights defenders around the world. I've been heartened in recent years by the extraordinary demand for democracy demonstrated by ordinary citizens. In Hong Kong, millions of people flooded the streets to protest the erosion of their civil liberties. In Thailand, youth activists defied a repressive government to call for democratic reforms. In Myanmar, people continue to fight and lose their lives, candidly, on behalf of their fundamental rights that are being denied by a brutal junta. And in Sri Lanka, widespread popular protests led to the resignation of the president and prime minister. I stand in awe of the persistent willingness of ordinary citizens to risk their lives and livelihoods to protest oppressive regimes. And that tells me that the demand for freedom is only getting stronger. But we must be honest that for now, dictators and authoritarians have the wind at their backs. Democracy is under threat everywhere. It is very serious and it's scary, but nothing is inevitable. Indeed, Freedom House's latest report found that even as Beijing's efforts to influence media narratives around the world are accelerating, democratic pushback and resilience are blunting and even reversing the impact in many countries. All of us will help decide the fate of democracy. I look forward to working with all of you on reversing the trend of global democratic decline and building a world in which all peoples are free. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your remark, President of the Freedom House. Since 2016, when Taiwan has been fully implement the new southbound policy, you may see that there is a very important driving force that is from the bottom of the society. The bottom-up driver is the third P of today's main framework, that is public, private, and the people partnership. That is the people sector, which cover the non-government organization as well as the NPO, the civil society organization. And it is true that with the driving force provided by the people sector, Taiwan and its partnership with the region has been enriched, and through the social network that generate the collective effort to build a better and resilient world together. And during the past years, there is one important leading non-governmental organization in Taiwan which always arrive in time during the disaster, the natural disaster, for example, the flood, the earthquake, and also to provide a humanitarian relief and assistance in a post-disaster timing. And before the disaster, they also committed to provide the capacity building program and training program for the disaster preparedness. And this specific NGO is called Tsai. I think every participant and distinguished guest from abroad must be very aware and very clear about Tsai's performance and contribution to the humanity and also to the resilience of the world. And today we are very delighted to invite the representative from Tsai, the Chief Operating Officer of the Jing and the Director of Marketing and Promoting Department of Tsai Cultural and Communication Foundation in Taiwan, Ms. Tsai to stay with us and also to share with her insight. And I think her remark and also her presentation will be very, very enlightening to most of us to share how the real operation and also the real story of Tsai right in different localities in Southeast Asia, especially in the Philippines. And please join me to welcome Ms. Tsai, the COO of Tsai, and also the Director of Tsai Cultural and Communication Foundation. Qing老師, the floor is yours.
Hello, thank you. Thank you so much, Professor Yang, for your invitation. Dear Dr. Xin Huang Michael Shaw, the chairman of this forum, this year's themes, revitalizing, reorienting, and reconnecting, I think it's very important. And how can we do that? We can do that with the seedlings of love, connecting everyone with love. Good afternoon, everyone, and it's so happy to be here and to listen to all your sharings. It's so wonderful, and I learned a lot. I'm Maureen, my English name, and my Chinese name is Chin. Actually, I was born in the Philippines, and I grew up in the Philippines. I think our deputy representative is also here. I'm very happy that I was born in such a good country, nice country, good people, Philippines. The people there are really nice, and my family is also there. Around 20 years ago, the founder of Tsai Foundation, with his venerable Master Cheng Yen, after I graduated from the university, she invited me to stay in Taiwan. So I stayed here for 20 years. Please don't guess how old I am. So I'm here for 20 years. Tsai, what do you mean by Tsai? Actually, it's a Chinese character. Tsi meaning compassion and Qi meaning relief. Actually, Tsai Foundation is an international organization whose mission is to relieve the suffering of those in need and creating a better world through compassion and love. We start with Tsai. I put my team with 56 years of great love without borders, with gratitude, respect, and love, because Tsai Foundation has been established for 56 years. It started in, this is me, volunteering when I was in high school. I got the chance to know Tsai Foundation. I was in the Philippines by then. So I started as a volunteer, and we go to different orphanage, home for the aged every week to give love and sharings. And eventually I joined this organization as a full-time staff and a volunteer. So Tsai started in 1966. Our founder is Master Cheng Yen. She started the foundation in the poor east coast of Taiwan. At that time, it's all the transportation, everything is hard. Over the years, the foundation contributes to building a better community and society with different aspects for medical, education, culture, and everything. Master encouraged our members to save money every day. At 56 years ago, it's about 50 cents every day. You save that money so that you can help other people. For a month, you have 15 Taiwan dollar. And right now, around 100 Taiwan dollar. It is how Tsai started with 30 housewives. That was 56 years ago. And right now, Tsai Foundation has volunteers in 50 countries with 500 offices worldwide. Even in Poland, right now, we have volunteers there from 8 countries, giving aids and care to the Ukrainian refugees in Poland. Okay, so our goal, Tzu Global Humanitarian Mission, we have charity. We want to relieve the suffering, and we provide medicine. Our Deputy Minister of the Health, a while ago, he also shared that we have Tzu Eye Center in the Philippines and also Tzu Hospital in Indonesia. And in Taiwan, we have 7 hospitals providing medical assistance. And we also have medical mission all over the world. And even in Philippines, we go to different parts of the Philippines to give medical missions for 4 days, around 4 days. And there are around 3,000, 4,000 people coming to join the medical mission. And for the humanistic culture, we want to provide beauty of humanity and education. And we also align with the United Nations Sustainability Development Goals, providing social welfare, education, and everything. So a while ago, our Professor Yang told us about the disaster relief. Later on, I will connect with my brother in the Philippines. He's there in the Philippines, and he will share how Tzu starts with the disaster relief in the Philippines during the Typhoon Yolanda. We provide emergency cash cards, cash for work, and etc. He will share it later. At the core of the Tzu is a great love for all, and we transcend the borders of religion, the borders of races, and everything. And no politics, it's all about love, and that is important. Master told us that whenever there is any disasters all over the world, don't wait for them to ask for aid. We have to go there directly and give them love. Okay, give without expecting anything in return and be grateful. And at the same time, I was with the Jing Books and Café, and we established reading room in different campus. In Taiwan, we established 203 reading rooms in 203 schools in elementary and high school. And we provide them with books with values and morals, because we believe that the heart of the people, the children, is very important. And we believe we will continue to bring love and joy to more people. We hope to see the smile on the face of the children all over the world. And right now, I would like to connect to my brother, Michael, and he is the deputy CEO of the Tzu Foundation Philippines. Michael?
Thank you very much for my presentation first. So, yes, a pleasant good afternoon to everyone. It's indeed an honor to be part of this Yushan Forum. So I've been a volunteer since 1995 to Tzu Foundation now. So since Maureen is my sister, so we've been working together in this mission. So it's a blessing that Maureen now moves over to Taiwan. So we're both immensely grateful to our master Cheng Yen, the founder of Tzu Foundation, for her mentorship, because her compassion and wisdom has been our guiding light, so in our spiritual practice, but more practically, it's in the application of our learnings, allowing us to develop our full potential in responding to some of the most challenging disaster situations. I'll be sharing today my first-hand encounter with one of the most significant disaster relief works we have here in the Philippines, which is Tzu's emergency response to a super typhoon disaster. So Typhoon Haiyan, which is known in the Philippines as Super Typhoon Yolanda, is one of the most devastating, powerful tropical cyclones ever recorded. So it happened way back November 8, 2013, so with ferocious winds of 315 kilometers per hour, killing more than 6,300 during that time. So it so happened that during that time, most of our volunteers are back there in Taiwan, so for global volunteers training. So the Master Cheng Yen summoned us also for this meeting to discuss their relief plans. So this is a map showing the path of the typhoon, which swept to the western Visayas region. More than 1.1 million houses were destroyed during that time. Tacloban City is reported to be the ground zero of the typhoon. So by November 15, we were there firsthand to witness that the city is totally devastated. So we went to these areas, and arriving in Tacloban, we get to see corpses everywhere. So disaster survivors are truly traumatized. So city-wide looting broke out, and the whole city can be considered total mess. So you get to see this image of the city airport in the picture, wherein residents and foreigners try to leave the Tacloban city after seeing this effect. So people crammed towards ferries, jam-packing ferries, trying to leave their hometown also. Even the city government is already considering to abandon the whole city. So Master Cheng Yen has reminded us that life is indeed impermanent and filled with suffering. So when people are in suffering and they cannot come out of their misery, people who are blessed should go to them. So we volunteers adhere to the Foundation's 5 principles in disaster response, which is priority, direct, respect, speed, and conservation. So after survey, our Master Cheng Yen instructed to conduct massive cash work program to help clean up the debris and allow the community to fully recover. So we were reminded to treat the money as an aid to the disaster survivor rather than as a compensation for a job done. So the most important thing is we must give it with love. So this is how they showed off their money after a day's work. Initially, we thought many people will come on the first day, but since many of them doesn't know us, they started with 600 people. But who knows, on the second day, 2,000 people came in just a couple of days. We are already accommodating more than 10,000 people. So in order to hasten the cleanup effort and allow more disaster survivors to participate, every day we set out to identify areas, so talk to people and discuss our next move. So these are some scenes that you get to see on the devastation of the area. So basically, it's a plain operation hoping to hasten the cleanup and allow people to get back to their normal lives. So to accommodate more participants, we tried to open more stations. So a total of 8 staging stations were identified for the cash for work participants to assemble. The peak of our operations saw 30,000 people from different stations in a day. So with more stations being set up, more manpower of volunteers are being needed to run the program. So Tsai volunteers from 13 countries came to support us. So in fact, batches of volunteers even booked chartered flight to go to Tacloban when regular flights are scarce. So, and these volunteers all paid for their own expenses, transportation and accommodations like that. We also even provided food to help augment the needs of those people, and we're providing 30,000 packs of meals every day. So we work well with the government, so, and also even borrowed heavy equipment to help hasten the cleanup effort. So this scene, as you get to see, most likely, I believe, is the largest assembly of participants in one single station. So this is the last cash for work assembly we opened during that time. Many might probably wonder where our funds came from. So actually through Tsai Foundation's TAEF TV station, which is visible worldwide, our founder, Master Cheng Yen, called upon volunteers to respond and help in inspiring love and soliciting funds from the public. So during that time, it not only inspired people outside, and at the same time, it inspired even the local disaster survivors to participate in this effort of giving love. So at the end, you get to see people are truly happy and really grateful. So many among the participants, as you can see this wonderful smile, in fact, many of them are disaster survivors. With many of these participants lost someone dear in their lives. But Tsai's Cash for Work program seems to be quite effective in allowing them to move on with their daily lives, because we simply doesn't gather them for the cash for work distribution of cash assistance, but through this gathering, we try to share insights, beautiful stories, and try to inspire their life to get back to normal. So at the end, in summary, we get to see the positive result of Cash for Work cleanup program. So first, it helps clean the environment and at the same time prevent the spreads of disease. So with the cash assistance given, it provided financial income to the family. And with this cash on hand among people in the city, many businessmen who left the city after the disaster are now coming back to reopen their businesses, thereby bringing back economy to its recovery. So of course, it's been a good rehabilitation, so physically and mentally especially psychologically to these survivors. And at the end, it also awakened the innate kindness among people. This is a summary of our effort, but beyond emergency relief, we also move on to medium and long-term assistance after this devastation, which includes the reconstruction of Santo Niño Parish Church. 1 year later, we will the first Christmas Mass was held. City Foundation provided 50 million cash assistance to support in the rebuilding of this Catholic church. Mind you that City Foundation is a Buddhist organization, but the Master Cheng Yen believed that it's important for this disaster survivor, and the church is the most important pillar to bring peace to this community. To these disaster survivors. Beyond that, we also built 2,000 prefab houses along these affected areas. And these housing are already a thriving community with many of these residents. In fact, almost all residents of these communities are donating members. Donating members of the foundation. Volunteers were also organized and developing them to facilitate further charity and medical services in their own community. During those times, we also helped supply prefabricated classrooms, allowing students to go back immediately to their classes 2 months after the typhoon. These are roof repair projects that we have also, and Tsai also provided livelihood programs. All these are but some efforts of the foundation in allowing the community to totally recover from the disaster. Beyond this effort, Tsai now has operation offices in Tacloban, Balo, Ormoc, and local volunteers are now taking up the role of Tsai volunteers, in spreading seeds of love in the community by recruiting like-minded people to join our ranks, allowing us to serve more people in need. Hopefully my sharing today would shed some light and be a helpful reference as we move together to revitalize, reorient ourselves, and to reconnect with one another. To close, let me share with you a beautiful message from Master Cheng Yen. So long as we form selfless aspiration and put into action, we will be able to make an impact in the world and inspire everyone's capacity to love. With this, thank you very much once again for having me here.
Thank you very much, Director Qing'e and also Michael, for your presentation or your sharing the insight and also the story of Tsai in the Philippines. And we know that Tsai is a very important NGO in Taiwan, as well as an international NGO that has a wide branch in the world and enjoy the international recognition. And with the story shared and also learned just now, we know that Tsai is actually exercising Taiwan's warm power. Warm power means to share the warmth to the partner in need, as well as to keep Taiwan warm and centered in those partners' daily discussion and everyday life. So this is what we also highlighted in the special issue of the TAEF quarterly that included in the conference kit in your bag. That is the practice of Taiwan's warm power. Tsai's presence and story is to demonstrate how an NGO, starting from the local NGO and then enrich to a global one, to demonstrate. Apart from Tsai, there are a variety of NGO in Taiwan, and during the past 2 years, TAEF has been delighted to work with Taiwan Alliance for International Taiwan Aid Development, that we conducted a survey to collect the information of the NGO, Taiwanese NGOs overseas assistance project. And the result that shows that there are around 35 Taiwan's NGO. Actually, those are medium and small size NGO, not as large as Tsai, and they don't enjoy so much resources and capacity, but they still commit to help the people in need. So those 35 NGO, they committed around 194 assistance projects and also the program at different locality in our new southbound policy partner country, in 16 out of the 18 countries in the region. So that also shows a variety of the engagement and contribution from Taiwan's civil society organization to partner with the neighboring localities and also the civil societies. And with that also constitute a very important dimension as Taiwan Asia Exchange Foundation's core action plan on the civil society connectivities. And I had the privilege to discuss with the director, Jing. In the forthcoming years, we will invite our young leader, alumni, to also visit the site of Tsai in the Philippines, also to contribute to the disaster preparedness efforts as well as the post-pandemic resilience building efforts with friends and practitioners of Tsai in the front line. Apart from the NGO networking and effort, the other important actor facilitate the mutual understanding socially is the academics. So, with that, I would like to invite the director of the Center of the Austronesian Cultural Study at the National Taitung University, Dr. Tsai Futuru Tsai, later to share his remark with us. And his presence also signifies the important cultural element that is the Austronesian link between Taiwan and the region. And through his knowledge and also his contribution to bring the young students and also the young leader together between Taiwan and the Austronesian localities. Without further ado, Professor Tsai, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon. It's my honor to present our cultural exchange program for the past few years. The philosophy of the cultural exchange program encourage our college students from our university and the partner university, especially in Borneo, to explore the Austronesian culture and enjoy learning from each other. Furthermore, they could share their experiences with their society. First, I would like to explain that Taiwanese indigenous people have a very tight relationship with maritime Southeast Asia and Oceania on language and culture, which is the Austronesian language family. The National Taitung University is in Taitung County, the most abundant indigenous culture in Taiwan. However, NTTU is in a specific remote area in Taiwan. We still believe we can have more chance to connect the Austronesian cultures and societies because we have so many similarities. And for the past few years, we have focused on cultural exchanges with two areas in Borneo. One mainly cooperates with University in Malaysia, Sarawak, and the other is the University at Tanjung Pulao in West Kalimantan. And before the COVID-19 pandemic outbreak, we led our students to Borneo to attend summer and field schools. And we invited many young students to Taitung to join summer camps and to learn the history and culture of Taiwan indigenous peoples. Our students participated in the summer school at the 2018 Windam summer program, a mangrove youth starving for the green environment. It was the first time our students in my university participated in a summer school in this area. And it opened up a new world for some Taiwanese students. Actually, some of the students still wants to go to the Southeast Asia right now, continuously. Again, our students participated in the 2019 summer school at West Kalimantan. The summer school is Dayak, engaging youth for sustainable indigenous community. It was co-organized by our university and the University of Tanjung Pulao. And this is the welcome ceremony by the Longhouse community of the summer school. And you can see our students reflecting on how similar it is to Taiwan's indigenous peoples. And our graduate students of the master program in Austronesian studies were in the field school in a Bidayu's longhouse in Sarawak. And we invited the students from Sarawak, West Kalimantan, and the Philippines to NTTU to attend an international workshop on cultural heritage, community empowerment, and sustainable management. Again, we also invited young people from Southeast Asia to visit a heritage of traditional indigenous Bunun houses in the mountain of Taitung and introduced by our students. After several cultural exchange programs, our students were interested to understand more. And then they applied for funding by themselves to return to Sarawak to do field work for over 1 month and connect with local indigenous people. After they returned to Taiwan, they even organized an exhibition in Taitung to introduce the culture and the society of Sarawak openly. And during the pandemic outbreak, and we stopped all the face-to-face, on-site. So the Inside Cultural Exchange project was forced to stop. So, however, we developed a program that practices cultural exchange online more creatively. We hosted an international showcase of virtual ethnographies. It's an online workshop of short ethnography films from West Kalimantan, Sarawak, and Taiwan. We try to connect the young students from different countries and design a way for co-working on filmmaking on multi-sites. It's been a fascinating and uneasy project to instruct young students who were mostly without filmmaking experiences through the internet. Even more challenging is that the participants were from different countries with different languages and cultural backgrounds. Although we understand it was a difficult task, not only the hard working of the participants, but also the support from Tanjung Pura University of Malaysia, Sarawak. In the end, we worked together to accomplish 7 short ethnographic films. I'm going to show you some of the clips from the 7 short documentary. Oh. So can you help me to yeah, thank you. Without voice, the sound.
People who are suffering from an illness or condition may seek medical therapy for a variety of reasons. In today's world, the medical system provides patients with a wide range of treatment alternatives. Drugs, beauty serums, hydrogels, and even exercise are all options. But here in Borneo, not everyone is attached to these modern healings. Some people here are still adhered to their traditional approaches. This short ethnographic film directly pictures the traditional healings from the land of Borneo, focusing on the ways and mediums of folk healing from 2 different states, Sarawak of Malaysia and Kalimantan of Indonesia. This documentary also demonstrates a fascination with how these healers still adhere to such traditional practices in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Religion is something that is inherent and crucial for believers. Each has its own identity. Everyone responds to these beliefs differently according to the culture in which they live. In this documentary, we will focus on 3 religions, namely Islam, Christianity, and Taoism.
Does all of us already contribute for ourselves to preserve the identity that shapes our surrounding? Do we even realize that those things might seem invisible to us? The question is it because of the things that are missing by themselves, or is it us who just let it go? Believe it or not, individuals worldwide are energizing, finding the way to preserve and protect those things. The thing is, they may be various. It comes from tradition, architecture, and etc. But in the middle of civilizations, they exist in silence. Some people still work on it to preserve what they know as precious treasure. And it comes to a journey where three of us would like to find out what is it like to protect what is supposed to be protected from the very first time.
In sum, we would like to encourage our students to keep exploring culture and societies in the region of Austronesian people, enjoy learning the similarities and differences from Taiwan, and then share their experience not only in Taiwan but also in the rest of the world. And thank you very much. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Tsai. And in addition to his teaching obligation, Director Tsai is also a documentary director. So he filmed a lot of very meaningful and profound documentary film. And it is our pleasure to see a few of them here. So it is also through the discussion and remark of our previous panelists, we learned that Taiwan's connectivity with the regional civil society is aimed at facilitating and securing the resilience, the social, in terms of the social resilience among the civil society and also among different localities. And that contribution is also in line with the practice of the new southbound policy. So from the NGO to the academics to the cultural institution, it is important to recognize that the people sector play a very important role in delivering Taiwan's warm power and also exercising of Taiwan's new southbound policy. But with the changing dynamics recently, we find the other important resilience that is related to the economic power, that is related to the high-tech supply chain resilience. With that, I would like to, it is our great pleasure to have President and CEO of SEMI India, Mr. Ajit Manocha, to stay with us. So.
Thank you. And first of all, I'd like to thank the host for inviting me to the Yushan Forum. And I'm the minority here. And but I will tell you that as a minority, I have the same theme as the fellow panelists and the speakers this morning, from dignitaries of political world, leaders, bureaucrats, NGOs, and academicians. They all talked about how to really enhance the societal values, societal benefits, and so on. And there's one thing which a lot of people didn't appreciate, that how semiconductor industry is also doing exactly the same thing, and maybe even in a much richer way, and also why in Taiwan. I think you heard this morning, Taiwan is the capital of manufacturing hardware. And so, and I've been to Taiwan probably 100-some times. I've been involved heavily with the semiconductor industry around the world, but especially in Taiwan with TSMC and UMC of the world, ASE of the world. So, lot need to be told in this meeting that how we will collectively help enhance the values the Yushan Forum is preaching here. And the one reason I want to maybe say upfront why it is so important to understand, we have been going through this pandemic for last almost 3 years, and it's really changed the way we work, changed the way we live, but the world continued to work because of the semiconductors. The fact is that we are almost near the end of the pandemic, and if you go back to the previous pandemic 100 some years ago, it lasted for years. But thanks to semiconductors, because of future computing, we were able to do the genome sequencing in few months. Hence, the vaccines were developed in less than a year, which used to take years and years in the past. So, what's SAMI? SAMI is an industry association. So, you met with the ambassadors for the diplomatic ambassadors, but I call myself as the ambassador of the industry to the world. And SAMI is a 52 years old association driving a number of things to further promote innovation, and innovation in terms of creating more technologies and enriching the values, enriching the societal benefits. During the lunchtime, Chancellor Bishop from Australia, she talked about the mega trends like Industry 4.0. Now, those trends are helping enriching the societal values and so on, but SAMI is enabling even beyond Industry 4.0. We have a number of initiatives. Sorry, these slides maybe you cannot see, but number of initiatives like sustainability, the climate control issues, these major disasters are happening around the world. Supply chain disruption, the chip shortages everywhere, the delays in the lead time and also on is causing a lot of problem. The geopolitical issues are on the rise and it's creating a lot of disruptions in our lives, professional lives and the personal lives. And last but not least, the semiconductor industry is going through a major disruption in terms of growth. This industry grew to $500 some billion in 60 years. In next 10 years, it's going to double to $1.3 trillion. And that means we need more talent. That means the countries that involved here really look into this. There's a future for the young generations. There are a lot more jobs coming up. So that's why I find this is also enriching the societal benefits. So SAMI has multiple initiatives. Our ecosystem is from equipment makers, material makers to foundries and assembly and test to system houses and application houses with multiple initiatives which you see on the periphery called smart mobility, smart healthcare, smart manufacturing and smart data. Now, these smart initiatives involve people from all over the world, especially with the like-minded countries, getting involved with hundreds of people involved in each initiative. They're looking at the short-term role that industry can play to innovate and promote innovation. But also, I have think tanks on each of these initiatives. These think tanks are looking at creating Blueprint 2030, 2040. These think tanks, again, has no limitation. Anybody can participate. And the people in the think tank are from the industry, from geopolitical and geoeconomical, academia, as well as investment banking and research institutes, and so on. So this is a global formation of the think tanks, and they're really projecting the future 2030, 2040. For example, quantum computing is going to be a game-changing thing in the next 5 to 10 years. With that, I think there's a lot more we are doing here which will further enhance the value. So again, this is this data which you can have these slides which shows how the industry is actually growing in next 10 years and so on. So also, another benefit for people to understand that we talk about manufacturing units. There are 86 new manufacturing units will be commissioned in next 4 or 5 years. And that again creates multiple jobs. So in these regions where unemployment is still high, I think there's a role to play for SAMI to develop the talent and get them ready for our industry. And this will really enhance the values. So I'm getting warning, the time is up. But this last slide also very important here. It shows that semiconductor intersects with every industry in the world. So again, these are the things which I want to tell you that this is an exciting industry, an exciting country like Taiwan, smallest country in terms, but highest per capita in terms of the executives, and they focus on this industry. Well, with that, I will say, here's the last slide on the talent. This is addressing the elementary schools to the high schools to the universities and to returning veterans and so on. Yesterday with President Tsai, we talked about how SEMI will help Taiwan and other neighboring countries to support the talent development and improve the employment. With that, I will stop right here. There are a lot of other issues we can talk. And this also shows the profile of the neighboring countries around Taiwan who are better in area A versus B versus C. So there's a room for everyone to get benefit from this. With that, I will say thank you very much, and we'll talk more. Thank you.
Thank you, President and CEO Ajit Manocha, for sharing with us the ecosystem of semi and semiconductor industry, as well as the gentle reminder. And it is true that for the hard power, for defense and for security, Taiwan will utilize our self-defense to safeguard our sovereignty and our people. And regard to the economic power, it is true that Taiwan plays a very important role in the supply chain and global production network. But this country will never weaponize the semiconductor capability to exercise the coercion to force other countries to give in. However, we will try our best to demonstrate the social meaning of the resilience. That is the practice of the warm power, just as I mentioned, and the remark made by our previous panelists, the exercise of the warm power, and to make Taiwan indispensable in the everyday life of our partner will be the key. And last but not least, I would like to invite Datin Yoko Chou to share with us her 25-year experience in film and television. And the floor is yours, Datin Chou.
谢谢。OK， 今天的那个 PPT 呢，我们公司特别用的中文啊 ，because everything is in Taipei, so we are using the Chinese version. So I using the Mandarin introduce, right? OK， 好，我们现在先看我们资料的。OK， 我们现在先看资料的第一页啊。那么今天我是代表马来西亚的中文媒体，然后来跟大家分享。那么首先很谢谢今天有这个机会，那个那个金卡就业金卡安排我过来，因为我在台湾申请了就业金卡。那么刚刚有碰到了这个肖董事长啊，您好，是，然后还有我们的执行长您好，是，还有在座所有的来宾，我想我尽量很快，因为我看时间 overlay， 我很快的，我把稍微。马来西亚，我们今天我们要讲的就是落实新进南进政策，还有前进东盟10国的跳板。那我们讲为什么我要讲说是马来西亚？因为大家都知道东盟10国总计有 6.4 亿的人口，那么它这个是一个蓝海市场，那么也是世界第3大的这个市场。那么如果今天因为马来西亚跟印尼呢是语言相通、生活相通、民族性相通，所以呢如果在马来西亚落实的话，那相对的你进到印尼的市场会非常的容易。所以这2个国家加起来大概就有将近3亿的人口，所以在这里来讲就等于几乎进入了东盟市场的1/2啊。对不起。好，那么我们再来看一下马来西亚的多元种族的特色跟优势。那么马来西亚呢，我们是因为多元种族，所以我们有马来人，所以我们要会讲 Malayu， 我们要讲 English， 那我们还要讲华语 Mandarin， 我们还要讲广东话， 然后我们还要讲 Cantonese 刚刚广东话 Cantonese， 然后还有福建话台语买通然后呢客家话我都要讲因为我们在那边要讲很多的语言。那么呢，在那边我们的宗教呢比较注重在于就是伊斯兰教有 61.3%， 再来就是佛教、基督教跟印度教。那么多元种族里面呢，大家看到这个数据资料上面，就是马来同胞有 69%。为什么要给大家看这数据？待会后面大家就知道了啊。那华裔有 24% 那原住民1%，然后印度是只有6% 而已。所以呢，华族在马来西亚只有占1/4的数量。所以呢，在马来西亚可以说我们有统整了3项，就是政治稳定、语言相通，所以当地呢有很多的台商还有外商扎根在马来西亚。那么马来族群呢，其实是大马最大的消费族群，这也就是今天我要跟大家分享的后面的重点。那么申请哈拉清真认证，我这边有一个数据给大家，也就是说全球有16亿人口是属于清真市场。那么如果清真用品认证在马来西亚认证的话我们有个单位叫做 JAKIM 这个单位。那如果你得到了这个的认证的话，是可以得到22个国家42个回教协会承认。那也就是说，如果你具备这样子的一个认证的话，你就拥有2兆美金市场的清真市场。所以这个我是跟大家稍微就是分享。那么另外呢，马国政府因为我现在全国数位化了所以马国政府现在非常重视国家的数位化转型的经济，所以这也是我要告诉大家的一个商机。好，对不起，我回来。好，那么跟大家稍微分享一下当地的媒体。那么我刚刚讲到国有数电视台呢，国家已经转为全国数位化，在2019年。那么我们现在频道在2022年，就是上个月截止是18个频道。那我们公司要 Enjoy TV 就是要做一个Enjoy TV5， 就是全部是影视的有中文影视的内容。那同时呢，现在这个频道包括我们现在全国数位化的这个频道，在马来西亚是除了马来西亚全国可以看得到之外，3200万人口850万户都看得到之外，同时邻国的新加坡、文莱一样都可以接收得到我们马来西亚的频道。好，那么接下来我们稍微给大家知道一下马来西亚人口的市场调研跟数据。那刚刚讲到3200万人口850万户，那么但是当地的人手机的持有率有 134%， 所以当然现在新媒体也是非常的流行，但是马来西亚的传统媒体还是非常的受弱。因为我们的马来同胞他们喜欢看就是我们的 TV1、TV2、TV3 待会我有个数据给大家看一下，知道一下当地的一个市场的情况。那么所以呢，整个统整就是免付费电视以及付费电视总共加起来有1500万个 iSports 可以看，就是在马来西亚的整个的电视的收看的这个数据。那么所以马来西亚政府在2020年推出的我的数位 My Digital 跟数位经济的计划，所以商机非常的无限所以大家在这个部分可以了解。那么在马来西亚有一个就是现在有个国际的一个尼尔森市场调查的报告在2021年的6月，他有调查马来西亚民众平均有 4.2 个小时在看电视因为我刚刚讲我们马来西亚因为我们的免付费频道很少那付费频道平台呢付费又很高那一个月要上看马币100-200块，台币1000-2000块，所以呢基本上我们那边的马来同胞他们很喜欢看免付费的电视。好，那么接下来在下一个给大家稍微看一下，就是马来西亚目前排名的实名电视的收视率。好，大家可以简单看一下这个表，就是 TV3 就是以马来为主它有英文跟中文，然后是在 Free to Air 的电视。然后目前你们可以看到它的 rating 是非常非常的可怕，有 24.2， 有等于是4个人里面就有1个人在看 TV3 我记得好像台湾有那个观光局会去买广告的话，好像 TV3 是指定的频道那么再接下来就是中文频道， 所以呢，我刚刚讲传递中文很重要，但是没办法，那么多频道只有一个中文频道，所以呢，大家还可以看到下面的一个资料哦，因为时间关系我就不多分享。那么再来，大家请看下一个页，就是稍微简单给大家知道一下我们公司。我们公司呢有在马来西亚有将近25年，那我们一直很积极在推动这个中文的内容跟台湾做合作交流甚至于往海外国际的合作都有。那么最近我们也跟文策院做了国际合资合拍的电影，我们有5部电影的计划，刚刚拍完了一部叫《空巢》刚拍完。那么之前台湾的这个次长，就文化部次长还有部长都有到马来西亚访问过。那我们也做了很多的电视节目所以在这里跟大家分享一下我们公司。那么下一个呢，给大家知道就是我们公司除了刚刚开始做内容之外呢，我们还有就是我们拥有6项特许执照，也就是现在大马华人唯一持有 CASPI 的广播电视执照，也就是 MCMC 发给我们的新闻通讯多媒体部发给我们的一个执照，所以我们可以录中文全内容的中文内容。所以我们准备就是我们原本有这个新媒体电视平台，我们有 TV Box， 那么现在我们转化成为 TV5， 我们整合一个亚洲亚太内容的一个中文影视内容，我们要落在我们的 Channel 5，就是 TV3 后面的2个频道。好，那么接下来，不容小觑的最后2页就是不容小觑的影响力。这是我今天一直要强调上来分享，就是台湾影视文化的软实力。那么就业金卡吸引了马国高管的这个专业人员，我这次也是因为就业金卡，然后让我能够有这么便利我在这边有3年的签证然后让我能够自由进出，这是我觉得是真的是非常非常好的一个这个制度。那么台湾是马国学子心目中留学向往之地，刚刚前面就有一个学校在分享那么另外呢，我要强调一个，就是我们要创造除了华人之外，我们要创造马来人，因为马来人在马来西亚占2500万的马来族群，所以如果能够造成他们有哈台的热潮的话，那我相信包括教育也好，经济也好，学术也好，文化也好，影视也好，我相信会有很好的效益这是这部分我提的。所以呢，前进东盟市场的契机，也就是大家一定要有信心 ，MIT 一定比 MIC。我们在马来西亚来讲，我们会更有信心，因为包括产品，其实影视我们也都非常非常喜欢那么还有一个我要提的一个，就是马来西亚的收入，我们的收入呢会比印尼多一点，因为印尼是大概3000块美金，马来西亚人大概是1万块美金以上中上阶层，所以我们大概是那边的收入的3倍。所以呢，基本上我为什么要强调，就是马来西亚是属于前进印尼的跳板因为刚刚讲语文相通然后我们的习俗还有我们的这个宗教都相通。好，最后呢，我就是稍微统整一个，就是我们要内容整合然后我们公司现在准备就是合资合拍，然后呢，我们用影视来带动观光，影视带动观光之外，我们还可以带动其他的经济效益，那包括商品、教育、文化各方面，然后利用我们的平台投放，可以让台湾进军到国际很多很多的东西所以呢，我特别就是申请了就业金卡，深耕台湾，然后呢，整合文化影视资源，运用文化的软实力，配合政府的南向政策，运用大马多元种族的收视观众的视角因为我们不光华人，我希望马来人也能够看台湾戏。台湾的电影影视很重要，为什么他们可以看韩国的电影他们可以看很多影集，他们不看台湾的很好看非常好看，但是没有人发行，没有平台播你的东西就看不到。所以呢，现在这个平台我们其实是身负重任。那我们预计在11月21号，我们准备要做一个新闻发布在台湾然后呢，我们希望就是能够作为传播把台湾传播到东南亚以及东盟国家的跳板，让世界看到台湾。那么最后稍微给我1分钟，我分享一个我自己的感触，就是我在10多年前，我买过一部戏在民视台语剧，叫做《春天后母心》。我记得那部戏的女主角叫白冰冰，她有得过金马奖最佳女主角。那我就拿去很多电视台 请他们买我的片子，然后来做了马来字幕，结果没有人要买没有人要买，因为他们说台语剧没有人要看。就后来我说，那你哪个时段最没人看？他说下午4点到5点，因为妈妈接小孩没有人用，广告不好卖。我说那你给我播，你给我2分钟广告，我自带广告，你也卖广告。好，那我们就上了。后来新闻很大，因为4点到5点妈妈都没有去接小孩，我们的台语剧竟然能够造成轰动。Why not？ 我们可以做得到，但是就是要有人做，要撒劲去做。这就是我今天那个前面在笑哈，其实真的就是有时候我们就是要有一股冲劲。好，那我希望这次在台湾我能够落实完成好，我今天要进驻台湾50%的内容在我们的频道，希望大家给我加油，谢谢，谢谢。
Thank you, Datin Chou, for your wonderful remark. And it is true that the cultural attraction lies at the heart of the soft power. And Taiwan, working with our neighboring country, has been exporting and sharing our films, video, and also the program, television program to our neighboring country. In our Taiwan Asia Exchange Foundation, one of our featured action plan is the cultural exchange. And with that, we are privileged to partner with National Art and Cultural Foundation for organizing the art festival with Indonesian Art Museum, and also to conduct the mutual exchange and visit among the curators and young artists. And we are also considering to promote the residential program for the young artists in Philippines, in Vietnam, and also in Indonesia as well. So there are a lot of discussion among the think tank circle in Washington, D.C., and also in Southeast Asia, asking us why a foreign policy think tank so much like the promotion of the cultural exchange. Our answer is, this is not the export of Taiwan's, ideology, but to share our understanding of the everyday life in Asia. And with our like-minded partners, we can create more mutual understanding through a more flexible way. So due to my poor time management, I think we almost run out of time. But please allow me to wrap up today's excellent remark and discussion before I invite all of our guests to thank all our panelists. I would like to summarize the highlights of today's discussion by using the ecosystem, the term ecosystem, as well as the theme of today's Yushan Forum. The ecosystem I would like to identify by ECO 3 words. The first one by E. Today's discussion shows the enlightening direction of the reorienting journey ahead. By C, today's discussion also highlights the collaborative partnership of revitalizing effort together between Taiwan and our like-minded partner. And by O, the ecosystems O, today's deliberation shows the opening up channels for further collaboration, starting from reconnecting with Taiwan's new southbound policy partner country, as well as the like-minded friends. And with this ECO ecosystem in line with the reorienting and revitalizing and reconnecting, I would like to close this session. Also, please, distinguished guests, please join me to thank our distinguished panelists for your enlightening and encouraging remark. And we will walk along this direction and your gentle reminder for a more robust and resilient future together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yang. Once again, we would like to thank the panelists for the wonderful discussion. Please move to the center for a photo call. 我们有请台上的贵宾妈妈可以往场中间移动，我们一起来照一张合照。You can remove your face mask and please look at the photographer. 我们可以请将口罩先摘下，请看向前方的人。You can remove your face mask. Thank you very much. Please look at the camera. Thank you. Thank you. A round of applause and give us your thumbs up. 伸个大拇指，帮我比个赞，谢谢。Thank you once again to the moderator and the panelists. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now take a break. Please help yourselves to the refreshments outside. And the next session will start at 4:15. 4:15. Thank you.